Hello everybody, it is me Thor and I am here today to answer some of your questions, or give advice I believe is what I was told. We've been sent in some questions and I thought I'd answer them to the best of my ability. As a god, I certainly know my way around a few issues and I'm willing to help. The first question is, how do you stay positive when faced with adversity? Ah yes, a good one to start. Now, you see, as a king, I must remain often optimistic for my people, but even I can have some hard days. My mother once gave me some advice that happiness depends on ourselves, and I believe this could be useful to you as well. Perhaps there are small things in your day that make you happy or make you smile, and I believe focusing on those things are what can truly help us get through the day, especially the tough ones. And do remember that tomorrow is always a new day. Sometimes a good sleep will help. I often tell my brother Loki that he should sleep more, because you see he's very grumpy all the time, but he never listens. For the next one, how does one get themselves a Mjolnir? Well, that is a bit of a tricky one. You'll first need to find a dying star, and then perhaps that's a little bit complicated for a Midgardian. You can find fantastic props online now that, we're quite well known here on Midgard, and that's probably much more your style because, well, you have to be worthy to be able to hold the mighty hammer, and the only one worthy is myself, obviously, and Captain Rogers, but he's another story. As well as the Man of Spiders, but again, it is mostly I who is worthy, and not you, but me. Oh, I'm enjoying this a lot. Who is the strongest Avenger? That doesn't really seem like advice, but everybody thinks it's the good old Hulk, but no, it is I. I am the strongest, because I am the most worthy. So therefore, I am the strongest. At least that's what I keep telling everybody, whether or not they believe me. Ridiculous. How do you soothe a broken heart? Ah, yes, we've all been there before, haven't we? Ever since my dear Jane. What is that old Earth saying? If you love them, let them go. Loki likes to tell me this. There was once this great snake that I owned, and he belonged in the wild, so I set him free, but as soon as I did that, it was actually a trick by Loki, and the snake then turned into an even bigger snake and then stabbed me. But that's beside the point. You need to let your love go. Oh, I also hear that ice cream is good for heartbreak as well. Although I don't understand the point of freezing something and then eating it frozen, peculiar, but it does the trick, certainly. I do quite enjoy it. How do you keep your hair looking so fresh? Oh, good question. First you have to wash your hair regularly, but not too often. And I'll also use the blood of a great hound to deeply condition my hair, although I don't believe you necessarily have them here on Midgard, so instead I would suggest using coconut oil. That also does the trick. I must admit, I didn't particularly enjoy getting my hair cut short, against my will, but I've kept the sides. I quite like them, and the little bolts are, kind of nice. Everybody keeps offering to cut my hair, though I must admit I do not trust them one bit. I think the only person who has actually successfully continued my style, at least, was Bruce. I wouldn't trust anyone else with scissors around me. On to the next one. Will you pin me down with your hammer? I received this question lots and I don't quite understand. Is this perhaps some kind of game? I mean, I often use my hammer to pin down enemies. They can't move and they can't attack me or try to eat me. So is it something like that? I mean, I guess I could try and pin you down if that is part of the game, sure. I mean, I often pin down my brother, although he really doesn't like it, but it's truly funny seeing him trying to get up when he can't. What a fool. Any tips for putting together a resume? I just learned what a resume is, and I've been diligently working on my own recently. You know, I always say the longer the better, or at least my brother says that, and you see, I've had many great long books written about myself, so... Oh, and I also heard that people lie, they don't lie, they just say things in a way that makes it better on your resume. So instead of saying I was banished by my father to Midgard for being an irresponsible leader, which led to my people in an all-out war with the frost giants, I simply wrote, I took some vacation days on Earth and to cleanse my soul. And, you know, I may have had a small argument with my neighbor, but that was it, you know, it's how I control conflict and how I solve conflict, you know. Just, you don't really write maybe what you've done, especially if that does involve war. How do I connect with teenagers? Oh, that's a bit of a tough one, isn't it? I can't say I necessarily communicate with that many teenagers, unless they're my fans, of course. Oh, but Stark often says that Loki is like a teenager. I mean, he certainly gets along with the Man of Spiders. He certainly enjoys taking moving pictures on the Man of Spiders' phone. Usually they're of me, and Loki will come in and try and stab me. He'll then yell, "Pranked!" or something along those lines. Maybe you could try this? Perhaps without the stabbing, though I don't believe that's very safe for a Midgardian. Oh, they also often laugh at strange videos. I must admit, it's mostly humans just making random comments and putting random words together. I honestly don't quite understand it myself, but many of the younger generations here tend to be fond of those kind of things. I know when I was a young teenager, Loki and I would scour the fields of Asgard looking for things to hunt. Well, I would look for things to hunt, Loki would hunt me, but something immersive for the teenagers, I think, is a good way to connect with them. And we're on to the last bit of advice I have to give. How did you learn to fit in on Earth? Well, I must admit, it certainly had their struggles. I mean, your species is so much more weaker than mine, but it's not their fault, and there are other positives with you as well. Though if I'm being honest, I must admit that I don't always understand pretty much half of the things you say. Clint said something the other day. Look what the cat dragged in when talking to Loki. Though I don't understand. Who was the cat? I mean, to my knowledge, it was just Loki. He was not shape-changing into a cat or anything, but what was dragged in? I just don't quite understand. Although I will say that most of you have been quite patient with me, and you're always willing to help me if I have any questions, so if you have any questions or are confused, maybe reach out. Not everyone will be perfect, but I suspect that someone will be willing to help you. And I guess as well, confidence is key. Pretend you know what you're doing, and most of the time, you'll do it. That's pretty much how I do everything. Literally. Every war I fought, I've had no plan. I mean, I pretend I do, and therefore I do. Don't do war, kids. And there we have it, all of my advice for today. If you have any more questions, please do send them in, and I will do my best to help you out. My gosh, it feels good to give back to the community. There are many places I could have gone, but ending up in Midgard was truly meant for me. Thank you again, Midgardians, and I'll see you next time.